Have you heard of Cocomelon? Usually you would have kids or you babysit little kids. Do you know of Cocomelon? Apparently it's super evil. Super evil. We're gonna dive into this evilness since it's spooky. This is super evil and parents are complaining about it. So I found a video because it's being talked about and I found this video. You're gonna see why it's evil.
Almost 2 and I've been letting him watch Cocomelon, but now I had to get him speech therapy so I can get him to talk. There are hundreds and hundreds of anecdotes in which parents mention the exact same problem. The Cocomelon show is so insanely addictive, it's being compared to nicotine and causing developmental issues amongst the kids who can't stop watching. Children's TV expert Jerica Sands calls it the most damaging show a child can watch, explaining the sneaky ways in which they make the show addictive. Firstly, there's the colors. Take for example,
put your children in front of TV and they broke. Yeah, I mean, I get having your kid watch a TV show for like maybe 30, a little one like this, for like 30 minutes or so. But like if you're having your child in front of a TV longer, I guess for like hours and hours, then yeah, your child's gonna break. Your child's gonna be broken.
Developmental issues amongst the kids who can't stop watching. Children's TV expert Jerica Sands calls it the most damaging show a child can watch, explaining the sneaky ways in which they make the show addictive. Firstly, there's the colors. Take for example the wheels on the bus. The 3 main colors, blue, green and yellow, are all at maximum saturation, meaning they cannot be made any brighter no matter how hard you try. Extreme saturation is normally used for alerts and notifications, as it's exciting, dynamic and attracts attention, which is why it's also used in slot machines. Cocomelon puts these colors in perfect contrast, making them appear even more vibrant, which is different to, for example, Bluey, in which the colors instead blend together. Cocomelon's also different because it's highly repetitive. There's a reason they have 38 videos with over 1 billion views. A child's brain is wired to learn through repetition, so it feels right to them to watch the same thing over and over again. Cocomelon abuses this in almost every video. For example, in the Yes Yes Playground song, they pick a word to repeat 3 times in every sentence, pairing it with a subtly repeating background lullaby, keeping children hooked. Literally no show or movie puts my son into a deep trance the way Cocomelon does. The second it's on the TV, he turns into a toddler zombie who doesn't see or hear anything else that's going on in the room. This is only exacerbated by Cocomelon's subtitles, which have also been a heavy point of criticism. The letters are not educational, I can barely read them fast enough. It's simply another interesting element to capture your little one's attention. Cocomelon explains in every description, our goal is to help make learning a fun and enjoyable experience for kids, giving you the peace of mind that your children are receiving quality educational content.
You're not teaching really. That one that we just watched, it wasn't teaching anything. It was just teaching the word that was being repeated 3 times. It was just teaching that. Like slow, 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 go, go, go. That's all it was teaching. It doesn't teach anything.
But people have argued that they're teaching exactly what children shouldn't do. For example, in the No No Bedtime song, the baby refuses to brush his teeth, have a bath, put on pajamas or get in bed. The education is that he eventually agrees to do so, yet a TikTok user was critical, stating, anytime I'd ask my son to do a simple task, he'd say no, no, no. He's sitting there watching Cocomelon, which taught him no, 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 and to say no to me. On the topic—
So they're only learning the repetitive word, right? So yeah, that's not teaching.
Of education, Jerica Sands stated, these people don't give a shit about our children. They care about money. That's it. Your child's cognitive development in direct exchange for their wealth, and there's pretty good evidence supporting this. A New York Times journalist visited Cocomelon's studio, discovering their #1 focus is keeping children hooked. Cocomelon's data and analytics team sifts constantly through YouTube numbers to determine exactly what resonates. Should a girl wear black jeans or blue jeans? questions. Should the music be louder or softer? Should the bus be yellow or red? Yellow is the answer, as they use a darker method to ensure that they're correct. Cocomelon has a dedicated Distractotron room, in which once a month children are brought here one at a time and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out. Next to the TV.
How do they get children? Or I guess they pay parents, be like, hey, here's 10,000, or not even 10,000, here's 5,000, probably not even 5,000. Here's a handful of money, bring your child, and so we can test our show to make your child into a zombie. Interesting. Parents love volunteering. Yeah, that's crazy.
Be playing Cocomelon, there's a second screen which plays a continuous loop of banal real-world scenes. A guy pouring a cup of coffee, someone getting a haircut, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse the Distractotron, a note is jotted down. We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted.
Interesting.
We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted. Therefore, education clearly isn't the primary goal. Keeping kids' attention is, and this is proven by Cocomelon's most addictive element, rapid camera cutting. It's crazy how many times the frame changes on Cocomelon. It's the same type of addicting behavior that we experience on a TikTok binge. It's the quick change.
Like those kids that have to have like a tablet. That one kid that we saw in that one short, the kid that had a tablet and then their phone that was scrolling through TikTok and then they were playing a game on the tablet. Yeah, it actually, watching that video actually hurt my brain because of how many flashes it was doing, because the video was so bright and I'm very sensitive to bright light stuff. So when it kept flashing, it was actually hurting my eyes.
Change of frame that releases that dopamine and makes the videos addicting to watch. Count the seconds between a change of frame. Well, TikToker the Circus Brain did exactly this. He firstly counts the changes on My Little Pony, concluding there's about 6 seconds between each cut. He then compares it to Cocomelon.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 1.
In her video, The Nightmare That Is Cocomelon, Savantix draws a similar conclusion. She found that 96% of the shots in Baby Shark were shorter than 2 seconds. She then compares 4 different animated shows, again finding Cocomelon has the shorter shots.
The longest shot on a Cocomelon video was 6 seconds. The longest shot on Arcane was 8 seconds. The longest shot on Bluey was 27 seconds. And the longest shot on Encanto was 18 seconds.
Which, when combined with every other element, creates some terrifying statistics. Dr. Kristen Summer explained that when showing an infant normal video content, they'll focus on the screen just 11% of the time. However, when the video is instead switched to Cocomelon, their screen engagement skyrockets to a whopping 74%. This therefore produces stories such as this. I used to volunteer for a preschool and they had song time. A Cocomelon video came on and all of the tots stopped what they were doing, put down their cheese crackers, and remained fixated on the screen for the duration of the video. It was honestly kind of terrifying.
Kind of? Kids that put down their snacks and forget about everything and just fixate on a TV screen like zombies? That's just kind of terrifying. Cocomelon is creating sleeper agents. No. Oh my god. That's creepy.
YouTuber Saberspark shared his own personal anecdote. He asked to watch a Disney movie with his 2 younger cousins, who both completely refused, and instead spent all day glued to an iPad playing the addictive show. In Cocomelon made—
Whoa. That's another problem. All day. They spent all day watching Cocomelon. When did you pull that away from them? Why were they able to watch that all day? That's why they're zombies. Maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. If they're that young, they shouldn't be at 30 minutes of screen time. They should be doing other things. Draw, color. I don't know. Build things. Build with, like, they have building stuffs. Stuffed animals, dolls. I don't know. What happened to acting like you're in a grocery store and you're cooking and whatever? I don't know. Anything that helps development, yes.
My kid a zombie, a mother talks about her son. He would be in a daze while watching it. You could be waving your hand right in front of his face and he wouldn't move. It was almost scary. This was also discovered by Sarah Mills 98, who explained when the Cocomelon addiction is so real that my 1-year-old can navigate the TV to turn it on by himself. However, nothing shows the addiction better than the Cocomelon TikTok trend. Parents will play the show's intro loudly and video their kids sprinting toward the television, where you can witness their mood change instantly. The New York Times journalist found something similar. The kid in the Distractotron had shown up in the midst of a tantrum, which ended the second he heard the Cocomelon theme song. It was no surprise to Wheeler, the head of research. 99% of kids, he said, if they're having issues when they get here, once that Cocomelon song comes on, they're like, life is okay, all is good with the world. Obviously,
your sister actually experienced this and she instantly noticed it and stopped it. See? Smart. She instantly noticed and stopped it. That is smart. Good on her. It's dopamine. So it works the same way on the brain. Yeah, I agree the parents are at fault as well, but also our economy is not good and parents don't have the time to micromanage children to make ends meet. It's an awful time to have children and be in the low income home. True. Very true. I was actually thinking about this while I was getting ready today. Make rich people have kids. Because of, you know how the government kinda is like, well, people should have children because our population is dwindling. And we watched videos on that. And the Asian population, like in Korea and Japan, China, how everywhere around the world the population is dwindling, right? Except for some areas that are okay. Let's make rich people have kids. Don't put it on people who are struggling day to day to day to make your population more, you know? Just have the rich people babies. I don't know, if you are so worried about your population, either fix the government and help the working class have kids and be able to be responsible parents. But if you're not going to do that and you're part of the government and you're part of the government that can control this stuff, just make the rich people do it. If you don't want to like give money to the working class, if you don't want to make it easier on the working class, make the rich people do it.
Why do we force rich people to have kids? Let's fix taxes and make living more bearable and accessible for others.
That's what I'm saying, Karkin. Fix that so then people will have kids again. But of course, the government is selfish and they won't do that, right? Obviously, they will not do that. They will find any other way possible to not make it easier for the working class. So I'm saying if they don't want to do that, then have the rich people have kids. Because they can afford it. They can afford to have 5, 6, I don't know, 7 maybe kids. That's capitalism. But they're able to afford and be able to take care of children. People in the government who have money can have kids. Exactly. For the rest of us, it's hard. Yeah. These two are expensive. Yeah. And I know, for like how I said previously, I will never have kids because one, I know I personally am too selfish to have a child. I know, and I'm being responsible. It is okay if you don't want to have a kid, right? It is okay. It's not like some, oh my God, you're a horrible person if you don't want to have a kid, right? It is your right to choose if you are responsible or if you even want one, right? So now you're banned. But for those that want kids, they have to think about, okay, do I have enough money? If they're responsible people, do I have the money to do this? Can I take care of this child 5 years, 10 years? 15 years down the line? I don't know. The future is not stable enough for me to know that. So of course people aren't going to want to have kids. I have 4 animals, right? And they're expensive. And that's 4 animals. I can't imagine what a human child is. You got to pay for school. You got to pay for healthcare. You got to pay like yearly health inspections on them. For a cat and a dog, you take them for their shots whenever their shots are due. Then you get like minor checkups on them if like, oh my God, okay, so they're throwing up X amount of times and this guy, okay, I'm going to take them in. Or, oh, they have rashes. Okay, I'm going to take it. It's a lot less than a freaking human child, right? So I can't imagine that. And they're already expensive for me. I can't imagine a human child. But yeah, so that's why people aren't having children. And this makes it hard too. If they do have a kid, they're not there, so they can't always watch what their kid is doing, or they take the easier route to help them, so they give the child electronic things, shows, games, or whatever, and the kid is now strapped to that electronic device, and their brain's rotting, you know? So it's not, I don't feel it's right to say it's the full blame is on the parent, because the parents or parent is limited now because of how the economy is. It's either don't have a kid or you're struggling. The other problem is that the old days, other family members, yeah, like you would have the cousins or the aunts or whatever. Yeah. Because I know my oma raised me while my mom worked. My oma raised me. Oma and opa raised me while my mom was working. So like I was raised, oma and opa, if you guys don't know, is grandparents. So while my mom worked to get money for to raise me and everything, I was taken care of by my grandparents. So I don't know if that's a thing still. With how this new generations are. I don't know if that's still a thing. It takes a village, as the saying goes. Yeah, but there's no village anymore. It takes a village to raise a kid. Yeah. Family and community supports are huge. That's how it is in my hometown, where I lived around a lot of family members, and they just took care of each other. It was like ingrained in you. You take care of your family. But I don't think that's now a thing. It is not, yeah, thing anymore. It's very every person for themselves. I'm noticing that. I noticed that in last place I lived. I noticed that, where it's like every person for themselves.
There's a reason for this. Cocomelon is okay. All is good with the world. Obviously, there's a reason for this. Cocomelon is so hyperstimulating that it actually acts as a drug, and what happens when you take the drug away? Young children experiencing symptoms of addiction and withdrawal, obviously leaving them completely dysregulated. TikTok user ThePoff1 filmed what happens when you take the show away, explaining he'll be inconsolable for at least 10 to 15 mins after, adding in the description, Cocomelon meltdown is legit. Once you have a taste of the cocoa, it's hard to break the addiction.
When you were little and you threw a fit, did you guys have the cold shoulder treatment? Like my mother and my oma, Opa I had wrapped around my finger. I could just run up to him or crawl to him or whatever and cry, and he'd pick me up and I would stop crying. So Opa was wrapped around my finger, but Oma and Mom weren't. I get a stick if I threw a fit. You got smacked. I didn't throw fits. You were a good baby. You got ignored. I either got ignored or I got the look that instantly made me shut up. Joe Bell is courting death. I don't remember. I probably got locked up in a bag. Oh my God, Credo, what? I'd get the stick if I threw a fit. You think I'm throwing a tantrum at a store for a toy? I know after the bathroom spanking, I never threw a tantrum in public. But at home, when I was put down, like, I had a thing where I always needed to be carried or held, or I would scream. So, because that was probably Opa's fault, because Opa always carried me. He never put me down. Anywhere he was going, he always carried me. And then there are times when Opa had to go do like outside work or whatever, and he couldn't take me, so he would put me down and I would scream. And then Oma would have to deal with me. Oma would ignore me. would straight up ignore me. She would just be like, no. And then Oppa would come back, be like, why is she crying? And Oma's like, you did this. But that was, so like when I see this, when the kid is throwing the tantrum, I always wonder, do they just give the kid what they want so the screaming stops, or do they ignore them? Or do they get a different punishment? Or do they get something else to distract them? That's what I wonder. If it's like that, or if it's how our generation was. You could scream all you want. Yeah. You'd put on headphones. Mm-hmm. That sounds about right for what you said about her. It sounds exactly like the dynamic. Yep. Well, Oma did not care. Noise canceling headphones were made for a reason. I think nowadays kids just want to get handed the tablet / smartphone to shut them up. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I wonder if that's what happens, or if this particular parent, just like let the kid cry and didn't give in. Because that also teaches the kid, I don't get whatever I want, you know?
Which this Reddit user had experienced even worse. My husband and I have been worried about our child. I can slowly see how she'd throw violent tantrums at home and in church whenever she'd get bored and would want to watch the show. Her behavior changed.
Wait. So the whole thing is, hello guys, I'm new here and a mom of 17-month-old baby girl. You see, I work from home and my husband and I have been worried about our child. I'm against letting her watch Cocomelon because then okay.
Changes the moment she watches the show, and she will not even eat her meals if she wouldn't watch it.
Oh my god. So she would just starve herself? What the heck? That's crazy. This is very alarming for us and we want to change it. I have bought her toys, but she would rather watch the show. What should we do? Then what yeah. As a parent, I know we have parents in chat. What would you do if your kid just starts starving themselves, refusing to eat until they get to watch the show? What do? You're in a bit of a troublesome situation. When it reaches that point, you're already in trouble. You would try to engage in different things despite the child's interest, I guess, seeking a hobby, if I can say it like that. She said that she bought the kid toys, different toys, but she would rather watch the show. I guess you could take the kid outside. You could, but if she's not eating, and she's 17-month-old baby, not eating until she gets to watch the show, that's dangerous. Hard situation. Or, like you said, Honest, exactly like Honest said, since it's acting as a drug at this point, you have to slowly wean them off of it. So maybe trick the child into thinking that they're watching a full show, but have it cut slowly down till the point that they're fine watching only 5 to 10 seconds of the show and then cutting it off. Maybe. I don't think you can full cold turkey it, especially if it's this bad. I don't know. This is crazy.
Even eat her meals if she wouldn't watch it. After these tantrums end, kids can experience a general discomfort in the speed of everyday life. The more they watch the show, the more their brain begins to expect this intense level of stimulation.
Basically, Cocomelon overstimulates their brains so much that everything else just seems slow and boring in comparison.
Whoa. So you notice how I've noticed this a lot in videos where when somebody's talking, there's always a game playing. Aren't they doing the same exact thing? Kinda. To keep the attention locked. It's not like super fast flashing or anything like a TikTok scroll or anything like that. But I've noticed this, that there's always something whenever somebody's going over a topic and there's just their voice. It's not them sitting there talking and you can't see their face. They always have a game going or something flashing on the screen. I've noticed that. Yeah, it keeps you looking at the screen. Yeah. Not to the same extreme. Yeah. I started noticing that like a couple months ago, and I'm like, because I was always curious. I'm like, why are they playing a game that has nothing to do with the topic? And that I feel bores me faster because I don't want to look at something that's not on the same topic of what is being talked about. And it loses my attention faster. Sam, yeah. Like having a Twitch stream open. No, this is different. So like how I'm talking to you about this topic of Cocomelon, right? She's talking of Cocomelon, but she's playing a Lego game that has nothing to do with Cocomelon, right? So it's just to keep you locked on to her talking. But I feel like you're not even digesting what she's saying because you're so focused on this Lego game. So I feel like it's going through one ear and out the other because you're subconsciously focused on the Lego game. Which I like how August the Duck, when he's talking, because he rarely shows his face, but he has his like PNG tuber duck there. But when he's talking, he's showing what he's talking about, right? He always has context of what he's talking about on the screen. Or he shows the duck, which is like him talking. There's only one video I've seen where he's played a game, and that's because the person that he was talking about copyright strikes him whenever he's shown on the it was the mukbang person, Nick Ocado, always copy striked him whenever he had a video about him. Or just don't look at it, but I want to look at it. That's why there's a video, or I'd listen to a podcast. And I also maybe because I am now having books where I have the what is that called? The Kindle, and it reads to me while I'm like cleaning and stuff. And then sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll have the app on my phone and I'll read while the person is talking, right? So I'll read with the person. So I guess I also trained my brain to have the same context of what's being said on screen as well as being talked. Yeah, an audiobook, yeah. The voices are so boring. You get the wrong audiobooks because the ones that I have, they are very voice acting like. They act in voice. So they're not just plainly reading, they're acting the scene out. Give you them right now. Yeah, whatever you read, smut. No comment. But yeah, it's to each their own though. But I feel like these kinds of videos aren't for me. They're definitely not for me.
However, the potential consequences
just seems slow and boring in comparison.
However, the potential consequences get much worse than this. As mentioned at the start, it was the cause of a child's speaking problems, with a notable reply reading, "Same thing happened with my daughter too. She's 4 but can't speak properly. She knows the words, but she does not like to frame the sentence or speech. She has been watching these Cocomelons or such other stuffs for 2 or 3 years. Hope we're not too late." Over on Reddit, a speech language pathologist explained, "Screen time in general is linked with speech delays for a variety of reasons, but Cocomelon is excessively bad. Firstly, unlike other TV shows or movies, it doesn't have a story. It's just very short clips with poorly written songs. The kids aren't able to follow the plot, learn vocabulary, and see the resolution of a conflict supported by infant specialist Meg Fora."
And the problem with fast-paced TV programs is that we find that little one's language development is slower.
On the Agents of Speech YouTube channel, this is again confirmed.
The main problem with watching videos on the internet is that they don't know how to use the language that they learn.
But he adds that 4 to 5 hours of screen time per day can make a toddler completely non-verbal. 4 to 5 hours is obviously a lot of time.
Yeah, that's
but
a
in
lot.
Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, researchers discovered that 5-year-olds who watch more than 2 hours of TV a day tended to have lower attention spans and were 7.7 times more likely to show symptoms of ADHD. These screen times might be even lower for Cocomelon specifically, because as explained by Jerica Sands, not all screen time is created equal. A child who just watched 30 minutes of Cocomelon and a child who just watched 30 minutes of trash
Exactly honest. Also rude. It's like because I grew up around books, right? I love books. But when you're learning English and you're reading English books, right? You just sound out the word in your native tongue. And it's completely different. I get made fun of all the time for how I pronounce English words because I draw out the vowels, apparently, or I pronounce every single letter in the word because I didn't have someone say it to me. I just read it in my head and how I thought it was supposed to sound like, you know?
Truck will look like a very, very different child. Thankfully, here lies a simple solution. Sierra Renee explained my 2-year-old is speech delayed and addicted to Cocomelon. Switched to Miss Rachel 2 days ago, and he's already saying more words and hasn't had any tantrums. Kim.it shared an almost identical anecdote. My 8-month-old was obsessed with Cocomelon and having bad tantrums, so I cancelled Cocomelon and only let her watch Miss Rachel, and she said her first word within the first 3 days of watching. Clearly, parents are able to simply change the channel, but not before leaving Cocomelon a massive amount of dislikes. They've therefore earned the title, the absurdly popular kids show parents hate, and Cocomelon has actually responded to the criticism that explain our shows are not intended to replace outdoor playtime or playdates. They have a place in children's entertainment time, and as with food, exercise, etc., it comes down to each parent to find the right and appropriate balance for their children. Our responsibility is ensuring that the quality of the content that we produce is high and beneficial for the development of a child's cognitive and soft skill.
Sorry, pausing. Is it just me? My vision going weird? Or is it at the end on the right side? Are the words blurry? Am I just going crazy? Or is it there? Like, it is? Okay. Oh my god.
It is worth adding that our social media communities are
doing?
filled with stories of parents who experience firsthand how Moonbug content helps their children. Cocomelon does have a crazy amount of supporters, but it's obvious that some of them are simply
You are
ignoring
crazy,
the
and yes, it is.
downsides.
Oh, okay.
My baby learned the alphabet and numbers from Cocomelon. She may not speak a complete sentence, but she expresses her wants through phrases. But is it Cocomelon's responsibility to ensure that babies are talking? Well, no. People love blaming cartoons and games for raising children, and not the shitty parents that don't step in to stop them from watching so much. Cocomelon is actually a really sad symbol of parents giving their children tablets instead of actually parenting and interacting with them. Ultimately, parents are the people who choose how much their child consumes.
True. Very true. Ugh. I think it's on both. Yeah. I think, well, Cocomelon's a company. Of course they're gonna go for money. Always money first. But yeah, it's the parents too. Working for profit and not